G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the south side of the map, playing in the colour teal. As the Holy Roman Empire, it is Blade 55555555555. He is back, we've got him once again, and on the north side in the colour blue, playing as the Mongols, we've got Ottomans, and boy oh boy, do we have an interesting map for you today. It is Golden Heights. You will be familiar with it from EGC TV's Golden League, plenty of other events that we've seen it coming out in, and finally we get to see it on the ranked ladder. Both of these guys currently sitting at Conqueror 3 on the ranked ladder, so it is going to be a top-notch game that we've got for you today. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what Ottomans is going to be throwing out, just simply because I'm looking to get into the Mongols. There we go. This is a pretty good map for them. Let's talk about why it's so good. Number one, water. Mongols are great on water, just simply because, and it's a bit counterintuitive, but essentially, they're not good on water, but rather they're just good at stopping the enemy from getting water. So you can see Blade's going to be putting up a dock down here on this south side, but the Mongols, well, they can stop that if they so choose to. There are a couple ways that they can look to do that. Number one is that they can go for that Uvu, start getting that double production spearman, but it doesn't look like Ottomans is going to be going for it. A lot of the time, what happens in these games is people will not necessarily play to the meta, but play to the expectation that the enemy is going to do something. So as an example, Blade, as the Holy Roman Empire on this map, might just avoid throwing down a dock because he's up against the Mongols and he knows that if he really tries against the Mongols, it's not going to matter because they've got the double production that you'll always get outproduced. So he might just avoid it altogether. And then it becomes a little bit about mind games, because instead of Ottomans going for that early Mongol Uvu and then together with the barracks and then into the dock after, he doesn't do it because he just assumes that Blade will make the assumption that he's going to do that. So there's these levels of mind games, and as a result, Blade manages to just get up a dock and treat this game like it's any other game. So already some interesting dynamics starting to happen on this map, and you can see Blade just throws down a nice little barracks in the backside here. So normally what you would expect is that this would start to be getting sieged by about now, because the first spearman would be out, things would be starting to get spicy over on that side, but Blade's going to be pretty happy here, managing to get the dock up, gets the barracks up, and Ottomans not even going for an Uvu at all. So very curious opening from him, and we see the proxy barracks thrown down from Ottomans as well. Very, very curious. So I feel like one of my favorite things to do as the Mongols, or at least one of the favorite things that I like to see happen with the Mongols, is that opening, just because it gives you that guarantee that you're going to get control of water. It is a little bit safer in that it, you know, if your enemy doesn't go for water, that you're going to be, you're going to have units that are essentially units that are essentially useless. But I mean, there's a small use for them, right? Like you might be able to. I think if we take a look here, you can see Blade on this wood line is technically outside the radius of the TC, so he could come in here and look to pressure that. But the main thing that you'd be doing with those units is just looking to siege down or intercept any villages that come out. But for the moment, though, it's just going to be the good old-fashioned water booms happening against each other, and now Ottomans going to be moving down towards his position, spots out the dock already, spots out the enemy fishing boats, and says, "Oh, okay, I didn't expect that." It's kind of curious, though, because he did kind of expect it, because he threw down the barracks. It's not just, you know, he's not going just for a naked play here with the dock, but he's going to get intercepted. The bald man, I wish we could zoom in on him. I guess I'll have to give you that. As you can see from the pixels, ladies and gentlemen, that man has no hair, or at least has no hair on the top of his head. And I tell you what, at the moment, I'm entering like middle age time, I guess you'd call it. I'm 32. I'm turning 33 soon. And I'm starting to notice my hair is thinning on top, and I'm entering this crisis point. It's like, what do? Do I buy a convertible? I think I have to buy a convertible, right? Like that's what you do when you enter these midlife crises. But I think things are going relatively well for me if that's my midlife crisis, going bald. But I'll do everything I can to deny it. But anyway, we move on, we move forward. A little bit of an outpost going to be trying to come up here. Ottomans going to be on the defense here. No Mongol double production for him. This is, in my opinion, this is just a classic mistake, right? When you think about your possible outcomes, one of the things that you really have to consider is that this will happen from the Holy Roman Empire. And let this be a lesson to all you Mongol players that are looking to try and start out with a greedy opening and say, it's fine, I'm not going to make an Uvu, I'm not going to make a Rax, I'm not going to make early spears, I'm just going to go straight for the dock because he probably thinks I'm going to go for those early spears so I can get extra greedy. Let this be a lesson. Don't go greedy. If you get greedy, you get dead. well, he's not dead yet, but he's outnumbered, and this outpost looks like it's closer and closer to coming up here. As long as he's able to get a couple of units inside it, it's just going to be all she wrote for this position, and Blade might likely just win the water from that. It's going to be tough, though, because there's a couple of factors to consider. Wait, what? Where? Oh, Lord, no. Not the wolves. Anything but the wolves. So, some important things to note. There's always going to be the option for trade. So even if Owns loses out on the water, he's still got access to trade. Now, it's not the best trade, and the reason why is because often these wood lines spawn directly along the edge of the map. So if you want to throw down that market in the corner, you have this awkward position where it's like, you know, you have to go around. So maybe you could probably look at running something over here. Just that way you increase the income that you've got without not necessarily compromising on that angle of attack from the traders themselves. But the age up will be coming through shortly. We can see he's got plenty of resources in the bank right now, Owns, and is going to be opting for that silver tree. Definitely makes a lot of sense here. So I think he's got two ways that he plays it. Either number one, go straight to castle and look to take relics, or number two, go for the Keshik, stay in feudal age, make sure you start building up that trade, and then from there begin to look to control the relics. But I still think, even though you've got a Holy Roman Empire player that's on the water, to me, the game still feels really quite a lot about the relics. But by the same token, I guess there's always a window for a Burgrave, so that's probably something that you have to be quite cognizant of when you're playing this matchup, because, you know, if you're expecting a Burgrave, or expecting a Regnitz rather, and your enemy's on Burgrave, the biggest thing to remember that the Burgrave, it produces a men-at-arms every 4 seconds. That's a lot of food that you've got to throw in there. That's 1,500 food every minute. Well, where can you get that from? Here's a great spot that you can get that from. Anyway, back towards the dock. Looks like it's only got a little bit of health on it. It started burning down. We see a second dock's been placed up towards that backside. So there was an outpost attempt to come up here, but he's just cancelled it and said, you know what, we don't need it. We got enough spears. We'll defend it through that. Probably needs to think about packing up this barracks as well. But the age up comes through. We'll have to see exactly what the plan is for the moment, whether he looks to move that silver tree up towards the corner. And look at Blade. He just knows exactly what is happening. He says, oh, well, you've got a couple of outs left. Let's see exactly what you've got. Number one is you could go for a trade win. So what does Blade do? He just immediately comes in for the wall. So this is another one of those things where it's just, you know, Blade is just slightly ahead when it comes to this play. So well played by Blade. Outpost will be going down, though, and with that, a little bit of the turn of the tide, maybe. Villager going to be pulled up towards his front, but remember, Blade's going to be aging up soon. We've got the Archon Chapel on the backside here. Not a bad Archon Chapel. Definitely not the best. He gets the TC, hits the wood line, hits the berries. But that's about it. Deer on the opposite side of the stone, and gold nowhere to be seen. I'm going to give this one, 6. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I feel like this is a pretty, you know, considering the circumstances, this is about the best you could do. I mean, you could probably do like an Archon like here, but that's just a terrible positioning wise. Like it just doesn't work. The alternative is that you went on that could be good. Okay, stone plus wood here on the back, and then you can push the deer in. It's complex. You just kind of want to throw it down, don't you? So the full walls have come up now, and that means that the silver tree back here has got nowhere to go. Keep in mind, on this map there is only the one neutral trading post that you can trade to. That's it. So this leaves him with no option as to where these traders will go. They will simply sit at that wall and they will cry as they try to collect their gold, and they will not be allowed to. So well played right there from Blade. But now in the ocean, we've got that water beginning to unfold. Looks like it's going to be another galley that gets produced here. So Blade trying to hold on. Keep in mind, no emergency repairs here because it's not connected to the network. The consequence of playing Holy Roman Empire on this map is that the demo ships are out now. Well, not really. It is that you don't have access to that. You know, if you were to think of like Boulder Bay, you can kind of get that access out there for the emergency repairs if you can extend that network all the way out. But try extending the network out all the way across that map. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But now Hulk's looking to dish out some damage here. Should be able to find it as well. You can see the fishing boats trying their best to heal it up. Not going to be able to do too much. War Junk comes out now. And I think, do we have the Springwood emplacement coming through from the dock? Not quite yet. Where's that emplacement at, actually? Maybe it's not even shown on the UI. Demo ship going to come in very, very quick. Oh, look at the way he's rotating it around the back. There we go. Takes it out in one foul swoop. Wasn't even close. And this leaves Blade in a great spot because he's got control of the water. He's got a second dock coming up. Fishing boats are out in his favor. And now Owns is just kind of back to the drawing board. He's in a really difficult spot. Not even a single... Doesn't even have the Gur up here at the moment. Going to be moving into double stable. So where does he go from here? I mean, you could probably look at going like 3 TC Mongol. I think that could be a play that you could make. But even then, like 3 TC, you're just going to let your enemy get all the... Oh, yeah, this is hard, right? If you go 3 TC, your enemy just takes all the relics and then just goes Imperial. And then they've got whatchamacallit? They've got Swabia that they can just keep up with you on. Now, granted, you might build up a little bit of a lead, but he's also got the water as well. So it just feels like Blade's already at that checkmate position right now. I think it's going to come down to whether Blade makes a misplay, right? To me, it seems very clear. Blade goes Castle Age from here. Blade collects relics. Blade throws down barracks. Okay, I mean, sure, it makes sense. What's he scared of in this position, right? Like, I guess he's probably looking to contest or to make sure that the trade route is shut down, which does make sense. So just getting out a couple men-at-arms to contest that does make a lot of sense. But I feel like you could probably just get Castle. You've got Arkan. There's a lot of vills on wood here, though, right? So it looks like it will be the second TC coming up for Uten Owns here. So this is, I think this is probably the right choice. This is so hard to know, though, at this point, what the correct play is, because you still really want to trade, and he is going to move the Silver Tree into the corner while there's a bit of downtime, so I think that's the right call from him in that regard. But Blade going to be moving into the men-at-arms now. We see over on the east side of the map, he has completely shut down water. It is only going to be Blade that's out there, and that gives him a huge advantage here. So now he's got access to that water. That means a large amount of food will be coming in to his coffers for the rest of the game. Third barracks coming up for Blade right now. To me, that almost says, hey, I'm actually planning on playing a lot longer feudal than what normally would be expected of a Holy Roman Empire player. Very interesting strategy. And now we see the Spearman making its way out. He's going to be able to hit the villager, but unfortunately the outpost has already got up. So with this, he'll be able to take it out. Silver Tree, unpacking. Interesting that he left it. Just take it a couple more tiles, mate. Get it. For anybody wondering, you always want to go to the edge of the map with your markets. Really, really important. Just want to maximize that trade distance. Super, super important. But let's check back in. Men-at-arms now hitting the gold. Really nice use of the men-at-arms here. I think it needs to be careful of the Keshiks. Obviously, the Keshiks, a really strong unit here. And nice little raid also getting picked up out here. Uten Owns at the moment. He's killed 9 workers so far. So, Blade definitely struggling to keep his head above water. We'll say that much, even though he does have the villager lead. And will begin transitioning to farms, which definitely makes sense for him here. Men-at-arms up against those Keshiks. I tried to zoom in. I'm not going to give you guys the fabled 2-pixel zoom. It's probably a bit more than 2 pixels. It's maybe like 6 pixels or something like that. But poor Men-at-arms just getting chopped to pieces over here. And you can see the heals just coming out as well from those Keshiks. Did he back out just so that he can get the charge in as well? What a cute play. That is next level cuteness right there. So it's important to note that once these Keshiks have taken damage, he can just bring them over. And as long as he can find something to attack, so even this palisade wall as an example, he will start healing off that. So that's something I'd be looking to do, but hold on a minute. Look what we've got here. Blade's starting to wall off his enemy. Now we're on the 2 TC hype train for the moment. That's all he's gone with. I'm curious if he looks to start up trade again now that he's opened up the gateway. But there's a lot of infantry coming out now for Blade. And he's definitely playing it safe. You know, we talked about earlier playing it safe, playing it differently, playing it greedy. He's definitely playing safe at this point. And Blade losing another villager. Getting caught out of position. Spearmen together with the men-at-arms are building up here. So he's playing safe just simply because what he's doing here guarantees that he doesn't die to a feudal age timing or a feudal age push. And you can see he's still working towards the castle behind this, or the castle age behind this rather. We'll check on board with his income, and you can see just how high that food income is at the moment. 1,100 food a minute. A lot of that is going to be from these fishing boats. And now you can see that we've got the Keshiks that begin to heal up. Little bit by little bit. It might not seem like a lot, but 3 health for every torch they throw. And trust me, they've got all the time in the world that they can throw. So you've basically got yourself free healing as long as you've got a wall to hit. So when you're playing up against the Mongols, do keep that in mind. You are giving them free heals. And that is, it's basically like playing against the French in that regard. Healing knight equivalent units. But now in the back of the base, the Regnits will get dropped down. Blade looking to hit that castle age. Not a bad timing here before 15 minutes. Keep in mind he's still got access to the water. So that gives him a really nice Solid food income here. Throughout the transition period, expect to see more units continuing to come out. And where are the prelates? How many prelates have we got? Only the single prelate at the moment. So not in a particular rush to be picking up any more prelates or to be picking up any relics. Which is something that I guess makes sense when you consider that he's been on the water for already quite a bit. So he's got an advantage. So it makes sense to just keep making villages. Now, one of the things I'm going to be really curious about is his Imperial timing. I think this is another one of those cases where, to be honest, I think the sooner that you can get there, the better. Obviously, you just don't want to die when you do it. And Blade making a little bit of a mistake there. Cancelling his palisade, the end of the palisade, so he locks himself in. But then he's making the gate, so he'll get out eventually. Meanwhile, on the other side, Utenon's looking to hit castle now. We can see he's got plenty of villagers on the gold here, 9 vills. So that income's going to be spiking up very, very quickly. But has all the resources that he needs with regard to the food. It's just the gold that he's working on now. And looks like behind the scenes, still no traders coming through at this point. You can see towards that top side, still sitting with 0 traders. So investing in a landmark and getting absolutely nothing from it. Compare that over to the Archon Chapel. And boy, oh boy, haven't you got a lot of value from this Archon Chapel. So you can feel the difference. But we do now start to see Blade beginning to make the prelate, which is definitely the right call here. Actually, we do have 1 trader out, but he's just chilling out for the moment. So the prelates are now on the field. I'm curious whether he rallies this into the Archon or whether he looks to try and pick up the relics with it. And you can see a little bit of a push coming out now from Uten. Maybe looking to pick up some prelates as they're carrying relics or looking to try and pick up relics. And Khan does go down on that north side. We see a couple of Keshiks also go down. He's going to try and tap those villagers as best he can. Struggling with the spears, but manages to take them down. He's taken out 18 villagers this game, and Uten is starting to build up a villager lead. This is what I was fearful of happening. It was definitely possible with the 3 TCs. I feel like 3 TCs might have been the right call here, but it is going to be the Kurultai that comes down for Uten-Owns. Interesting decision to go Kurultai in this position. Normally, you would go Kurultai with the Silver Tree if you had a decent trade line established. But you don't have a decent trade line established. In fact, you've only got a single trader out at the moment. Things aren't the prettiest. So perhaps going Stepred out might have been the right call in a situation like this where you really lack the gold. Don't get me wrong, I love the Kurultai. I love myself some healing, some extra damage. It feels good, bro. But are you going to have enough gold to justify going into that Kurultai? That's going to be the big question here. So the first relic is on the way back in. Now for Blade. He's got the second one on the way in as well. Let's check and see if we can spot it. There it is. So there's 2 more relics out here towards the center of the map. And then that last relic on the other side, Blade's safe relic. Or rather, Uten's safe relic. It's Blade's highly unsafe relic, I guess you could say. But we've now got the upgrades going to be coming through shortly. You can see Blade's yet to click up on anything. So where do we go from here? I think for Uten, it goes into crossbows, which is definitely the right call. So moving into crossbow, I think crossbow spear is probably the right call. Even though you only see all of this infantry, like you could just go full archer crossbow, but you do need something to front line for you. So I think that's quite important. And you probably want to avoid going men-at-arms just because your enemy has the ability to counter your men-at-arms with their own men-at-arms. So as long as that crossbow mass is building, I think Uten will be fine here. Did he end up making his Uvu? Yeah, he does. Okay, good. He's got his Uvu. So that's a relief to see now. But the Kurultai does come down in the middle. Sacred Site over towards that west side has been triggered. And now that Kurultai will begin to heal up all of the units here. Definitely wants to start pushing down towards that enemy base. And Blade, he's looking to try and age up. You can see he's stacking up 1,500 food at the moment. Just needs that gold. He's got 3 relics at the moment. 2 in the bag, 1 on the way through. It's that one over from the west side. You can see it's coming through now. There should be a 4th one. Yeah, there's the 4th one right now. So he just scrapes by. And Blade now looking to retreat away. So he's picked up 4 relics. And I think at this point, 4 relics plus water is very difficult to overcome. Even though Uten's really starting to climb away on that villager count. And you can see that he's up to 1,600 wood at this point. So there's a part of me that really thinks he could have looked for that extra town center. But now, a whole bunch of units going to be coming out on the front. Blade's got to be careful about going to Castle or going to Imperial Age here, if that is his choice or his decision. At the same time, a bit of a lack of units coming out from Uten right now. Needs to make sure he continues rallying more and more crossbows out here. Needs that mass starting to build. And we can see that the men-at-arms have got their upgrades. They're +6 damage against heavy units. So this is where we want to avoid going for men-at-arms. And spearmen definitely make a lot of sense here. Let's see if he's able to finish Blade off. He's kind of playing with his food at the moment. I say that in a way that suggests Uten's ahead. I don't know. I don't think Uten's ahead. I don't know. I feel like Blade's really happy with the position in this game because this matchup is a notoriously difficult one for the Holy Roman Empire, but that's on the condition that it's early game. We now enter the 20th minute of the game. The Swabia is coming down on the backwood line here. Blade is in a good spot. He's managed to make it, or at least to click up to Imperial. He's got plenty of production out, and this right here, this is what seals the deal, the Siege Workshop. I think a lot of what the Mongols need to do is they need to keep the Holy Roman Empire out of the Imperial Age. Because when you think about what the Imperial Age gives the Holy Roman Empire, it's culverins, it's bombards. Bombards are going to counter those sprinkled emplacement outposts. Culverin are going to be able to counter the mangonels, the trebuchets, and the springalds of your own. So then you have to look for an Imperial, but you got to pay full price, and then you got to get improved roller shutter triggers on top of that. There's a lot of things that you've got to consider. So it makes it awkward for Uten now because playing up against an Imperial player, it's not so much the elite upgrades that are going to matter. What's going to matter is that siege, and we begin to see the mangonel coming out, the first mangonel coming out. So we now begin to see our trench building. So it looks like Uten not going to be going for improved siege engineering. No, he is going for improved siege engineering. Yeah, why is he making a siege workshop then? Surely he's not looking to get the siege movement speed upgrade, right? Like, this has got to be an oversight. He's got all of this infantry ready to just build all of his siege. Unless that's the reason he's going for it. And now we enter this position where it's like, you know, earlier we spoke about not having enough gold. And now we see that mistake, or not mistake, decision. Now we see that decision really playing out. Because the silver tree is up here. You do not have a trade route. You've had plenty of opportunity to gather, you know, the most gold that you can. And you can see right now, 31 villagers trying to gather gold up here. That's a lot of villagers that want to gather gold. You could be having an extra 50% on top of that. But now we've got ourselves a little bit of a push out. Blade looking for it. Men at arms on the front line. But the mango falls back for the moment. I think the sprinkled, no, it's not even sprinkled in placement. He's just, has he just got, yeah, he's just got garrisoned units in there for the moment. And now that mangonel looks to continue holding on. Cannon emplacement. That makes it really difficult. Good luck ever fighting up against a cannon emplacement right here. I think it's starting to... I feel like the curtains are really starting to close right now for Uten Owns. He's got the population advantage, and he's up 21 villagers, but Swabia is kicking in right now. This is the point here of no return, because the Swabia is online. So it's only a matter of time until your enemy's caught up to you. But still, those numbers are beginning to build. Blade now with the culverin. And that's where it gets so tough, right? Because now, all of a sudden, like we've seen it time and time again. Culverin against Springles, it just can't be done. It can't be done in the Castle Age. You have to go Imperial. You have to get those roller shutter triggers. And even then, fighting roller shutter triggers Springled against Culverin is difficult. Fighting with no roller shutter triggers, it's nigh impossible. Take a look at this upgrade. We're talking about an extra, well, here it's the improved upgrade. So it says 3 tiles and 35% attack speed. But realistically, I think it's 2 tiles and 25% attack speed. So he is going to opt for greased axles. So that might give him the opportunity to get in there a little bit sooner. But remember, the culverin doesn't need to unpack either. That's another big aspect of it. So Culve's got to move in. Or rather, the Springald's going to move in, and you can see the culverin just responds immediately. Trebuchet looking to unfold. And Blade going to be able to begin pushing out. Elite Men-at-Arms is through. One of the most difficult matchups in the game, and Blade manages to find a way. The Imperial Age for Uten Owns very far away. There's no prospect of roller shutter triggers coming in for him at this point. And the Trebs battering down the hatches. Meanwhile, towards that east side, still completely untested. Blade out here patrolling the shoreline and making sure there ain't nothing out here. So I think it all just goes back down to that beginning. Uten Owns, he gambled, unfortunately. He gambled incorrectly. And now those Culves, he's got 2 of them out now. Does he go for a third? He hasn't gone for a third. He's going to go into a bombard, which is definitely the right call here. You can start to clear out all of this. The sprinkled emplacements are through, but keep in mind, 9 tiles of range on the sprinkled emplacement compared to the 10 tiles of range for the bombard. So it's really this awkward dance of chess. The only difference is that the bishops and rooks that Uten Owns has, over on the other side, Blade's just got a whole bunch of queens, and they can just move in any single direction. Blade's not really playing by the rules here. Come on, Blade. little bit of a raid out towards that east side. Utenaun's going to be trying to find something, some sort of magic out here, but keep in mind, Blade's just got these ships on the shoreline. He'll be able to deal with it relatively easily. And a huge, massive crossbow starting to build here. Blade going to start pushing up with the first bombard. Might need to think about a second mangonel. A second mangonel could actually be really clutch for him here. Oh, he's going into the second mango. Definitely the right call. Culverin looking. You can see the way that he's got these culverins looking. Let's ride on board with his perspective and just get an idea. You can see how much line of sight he's got. Oh my god, that line of sight is ridiculous. He sees everything. He sees the entire battlefield. Culverins, you can see the Springle trying to come through. Not going to be able to find it. Shaman walking up to the front line and saying, convert, repent. A little bit of a raid on the backside. Blade in trouble. But at the same time, crossbows standing by. More and more units coming online, and we can see all of those men-at-arms just going to be able to repel this. The Colb's getting off some shots at the same time towards the top side. We enter into the cinematic modus. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to dance. The Mangonel's getting big shots off, but the Kurultai's here. It's got the heels coming out. The men-at-arms on the front line. Second Mango shot. RKO, Randy Orton, not going to be able to find it. Only a little bit of damage done, and Blade holding on for dear life right now. Looking to try and take out the back Mangonel. He manages to find one of them. The second one is getting focused down, but look at all the units from Blade. I don't think he got a chance in hell of taking this Mangonel out the old-fashioned way, and good game gets called. Not enough Springles, and that is just a consequence of the Culverins. Fellas, go and check out Blade 55555. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can watch him live, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.